My name is Barsanti. I'm CEO and founder of StorageLife. So if you want to know more, check us out at storagelife.com. Okay, guys, today I'm going to talk about the single most important thing we can do as self-storage investors. One thing, and we're going to drill deep. We're going to break it down. This is the secret. This is the trick. This is the key. There's so many different things we think about as an investor, what to do, funding, partnerships, all that good stuff, where to look, all that. And that is important, but there's nothing more important than finding opportunity. That is the single most important part of your career. And if you're not the hunter type, if you're not that person, then you're just going to have to partner with that person. That's it. Here's what happens when you start making phone calls, when you start talking to owners, when you start going to conferences, when you start talking to other operators, when you join mentorship programs and start meeting other operators, when you're already an operator and you start hanging out with operators that are more successful than you. And all that's happening simultaneously, you're gonna not stop looking for deals. Now, you got to know how to look for the deals. You got to be looking in the right places, but regardless, you're just going to start taking control of your career. There's nothing more frustrating than not having deal flow, than not having opportunity. Some of you guys know that is my specialty. I love hunting. Acquisitions is everything to me. That is why we've been able to scale as fast as we have. That's why we were successful in multifamily. That's why we're successful in wholesaling. And now that's why we've been so successful in self-storage, is because we're 90% acquisitions. When it comes to the capital, the money, all that other stuff, it matters, but it will happen when you find a good deal. So when you start, when you decide, when you give yourself permission, when you set it up where you're holding yourself accountable, your mentor's holding you accountable, your community's holding you accountable, you set up a system where all of a sudden, all you're doing, regardless of whether you're sleeping in your virtual assistant or your virtual assistants, your letters, your emails, your texts, everything always is looking for opportunity for you. Things are going to shift drastically. One of the big inspirations of starting StorageLife is I was meeting people that were completely stuck. They knew storage, they've been studying storage, they even had the capital, they couldn't find storage. They were stuck. And a lot of times they didn't even know why they were stuck. 90% of the time they're stuck because they have no deal flow. They have a deal flow problem. If you fix your deal flow problem, you will start becoming the 1%. Our StorageLife community, we've closed roughly 30 deals in the last year and a half. That's crazy. But the point is, we're doing it because we're heavy on acquisitions. We're heavy on our pipeline. Now, for a little bit of motivation and facts also, I'm gonna give you some examples of this. The first deal I ever found, I was looking for deals in a city with about 27,000 people. I was looking for multifamily. I bought a course online. The course taught me how to scrape leads, scrape a list online using a platform. I did that. I called every multifamily owner I could, I exhausted all possibilities. Then I started getting on Google Maps, driving around looking for buildings that looked like apartment buildings that maybe weren't on that list. On the Google Maps drive, I saw a for rent by owner sign. I called that sign. She happened to also be a mortgage broker that later got me a loan on a different property. They turned out to be condos. They weren't multifamily, but she said, hey, you know what? Call this bank. They just bought another bank and they have some bank-owned property. She called it REOs, right? At the time, I didn't know what REOs, real estate owned property, meant. I wrote it down on my little sheet of paper and I called that bank. About a month later, it was the first time I'd ever called a lender. I was really nervous, or maybe the third time, but I was nervous. After I Googled what REO meant, long story short, I found a bank-owned self-storage facility. Now this happened, if you track back to why this happened, it was the phone call. It was the one phone call, then the phone call following that changed my life. It changed my career. It got me into self-storage 19 facilities ago, right? It was the phone call that changed my life, and I've had several of those. I've had several cornerstone moments, and they all happened because I was looking for deals nonstop. Calling owners left and right, call brokers, call, people on Craigslist. I've heard of people finding deals on Marketplace, whatever it is, but I never stopped. You never know when the next conversation you have is going to be the deal that changes your career, the deal that changes your life, whether it's your first facility, your fifth facility, or your 15th facility. Those big deals matter a lot. I've had a few of those big deals that were literally had like massive impacts, mainly in the ROI of what we did with those properties, where we got to 1031, the markets we got to own in now, the equity we own now in our larger portfolio. But it all happens because we were looking for deals. The single most important thing, you can't ever stop. Imagine wanting to be a successful triathlete, but you stop training. I mean, I don't look at it as any difference. Our training is our deal hunting. And again, if you're not that person, you have to partner with that person. StorageLife, we have a huge advantage. I couldn't have said this a year and a half ago, but like now, my community is a deal funnel. And I'm finding deals other people are buying. Other people are finding deals I'm buying. It's became this giant fishing net. I couldn't have said that 2 years ago. I am proud to say it now, but however you have to figure it out, the funnel, build the funnel. Let's go back to phone calls. I found a bank-owned storage facility because I wouldn't give up on the city, looking for deals nonstop. The next property I bought, I cold called an owner on Google Maps. They said, yeah, if you show up in person, we're interested. I sent my partner, we bought that deal, we showed up. The third deal was a call to a broker that was doing weird things on LoopNet and would like post stuff that actually wasn't for sale, but then you'd call him and he'd be like, well, here's the area I'm in and da. And so I kept in touch with him. I kept calling him, right? Kept in touch, kept on his radar. Before this deal hit the market, he called me. I missed it out. I missed out by a week because I was in Hawaii. It was under contract. My wife kindly reminded me that you always put in a backup offer. We called him. We said, hey, look, David, if this falls out of contract, I got a full price offer waiting. And it did. And we bought that facility. That's the third facility. The fourth facility was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a cold call from my VA. Then I was in Tulsa looking at another property. I said, Mauricio, I'm here for 2 days. Send me every contact we have of every owner. And I'm going to sit here in my hotel room and I'm going to call owners. And I did that for hours. And I got a hold of a guy named Jim and I bought his facility for $500K. I sold it since. It's now on the market for over $2 million. I don't think they're quite going to get that. But that facility, 1031, the third one I bought in that one, I bought a $7 million facility on seller finance in Cibolo that Public Storage offered us $9.7 million for. I'm only saying all this because we underestimate what momentum does. But momentum doesn't start if we don't start looking for deals. Again, I repeat, some of the most stuck any investor has been is because they don't have enough deal flow. So when you start creating enough deal flow with the systems, with your team, with your mailers, your texts, but all of a sudden, all of these seeds you're planting over and over and over and over again, and you're consistent, even if you have full-time job, it's okay. Jason Vondersmith in our group had 2 full-time jobs when he started working with StorageLife. He knew nothing about storage and he's closed 3 properties in the last 16 months. But it doesn't matter. You just have to plant seeds. Once you start doing that, this is what's going to shift. Obviously your opportunity, but your mindset, your excitement. You have sellers calling you. You have sellers emailing you. You have brokers calling you. You have brokers emailing you. You go into conferences and all of a sudden you know people. You have community members in your mentor or your master mentorship programs, your masterminds, and they have deals, whatever it is. And all of a sudden your opportunity starts creating your forward momentum. It sustains it because now when you have opportunity, you have to respond. You have to make offers. You have to call sellers back. I can rattle off almost every deal that we've done. It started because we were looking for opportunity. That opportunity was never going to come to us any other way. We're calling owners. A student of mine, he hired one of my VAs, and then within a couple of months, the VA talked to an owner in Huntsville, Texas. That owner was like, you know what? It's about to hit the market. Call my broker. This happens a lot. We get in front of deals that are actually about to hit the market. Sure enough, it did. Sean, their first facility is what they had, and they had assisted living. He 1031 the assisted living into over 50,000 square feet of facility in 3 properties in Huntsville. I talked to him yesterday. He rented 50 units in July. That deal is a life changer because Sean took action. He decided to join a mentorship program. He decided to hire a trained VA. He decided to create the systems, the foundations to start looking for opportunity. Beating it like a dead horse. When you start doing that, things are going to drastically shift. And down the line, we all want a quick deal now. But what if this works? And what if in 12 to 18 months, you're gonna still be doing this? And what if in 3 and 4 years, you're gonna still be doing this? And what if in 5 and 10 years, you're still gonna be doing this? All these seeds you're planting, all this effort is all going to be like growing, and it's gonna come back to you. So don't stop, don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in your finances and what deals you can't afford. Don't get wrapped up in markets you don't wanna be in. How do you know? How do you know that you wanna be only in 30,000 population markets with a household median income of 70,000 people and a growing rate of this? I know you say that, but what if I can find a deal in that market that's gonna make you $1 million? Then are you not interested, right? Don't get caught up on the small stuff. Most commonly, people are caught up in, oh, but I only wanna be here, only wanna be in driving distance. I wanna be able to see my facility once a month. I don't want to invest in Mississippi, whatever it is. Don't get caught up in that. Pound the pavement, start looking for opportunity, build a pipeline, and it's gonna bring you more excitement than you're gonna know what to do with, especially if you do it well. That excitement, that deal flow, that fuel, it's fuel in the fire. All that stuff is going to build and create and sustain your momentum as an investor. Your career, your lifeline, your bloodline hinges upon one thing, and that's your ability to find opportunity, no matter what asset class you're in, especially self-storage. Multifamily, single family, you could probably rely on brokers to bring you deals, or wholesalers, not self-storage. You have to take the bull by the horns. You have to be the front line driver of your career. Start, don't stop, and I promise you it will have a massive impact on you and your career and your journey. Awesome, guys. That's all I got. Thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.